Forget New Year, New You. This season is about slowing down, locking the doors, and cozying up at home with the one you really want to do nothing with. Your dog. After the holiday chaos, those quiet nights with a blanket, a podcast, and your pup feel like the reset you actually need. Ollie helps make those moments easier with fresh protein-packed meals made from real human-grade ingredients, so your dog can enjoy some quality comfort food too. Choose from 5 recipes and get a personalized plan for your dog's needs. Meals arrive perfectly proportioned with a scoop and storage container, so serving is fast and mess-free. And with Ollie's in-app on-demand health screenings, supporting your dog is easy, ensuring more cuddles for many years to come. Visit ollie.com/truecrime and use code TRUECRIME for 60% off your first box.
After spending the night in their cabin, Cynthia and Robert Ross returned to their home on Sunday, November 14th, 2004, to an unsettling absence in their house. Their daughter, Christina, was gone. Christina, who was on the verge of turning 21, was a no-show at work that day, which worried them. She wasn't the kind of person to play hooky like that. Notifying the local police department in Neenah, Wisconsin wasn't very promising since Christina was technically an adult. There wasn't very much they could do. Then, on Monday evening, a call came from the police. Christina's car was found parked in the Cops Food Center supermarket parking lot. Did the Rosses want to pick it up? Armed with a spare key, Cynthia and Robert decided to look inside Christina's car. Maybe she left a note that explained where she was. Deep down, though, Robert had an eerie suspicion that something bad was going to happen. Robert admitted that he had a strange feeling on the way over, that he should open the trunk first, and that she was going to be in there, the police report said. Robert told Cindy to stand on the side so that Cindy wouldn't see Christina if she was inside the trunk. Robert popped the trunk open with a remote. Cynthia would later tell police that at first she thought there was a golf bag in Christina's trunk. She saw Robert bend over and touch it. Then he quickly slammed the trunk shut. The look on his face was one of sheer horror. Robert came over to her and demanded her cell phone. At that point, Cynthia said she realized that it could be a body, her daughter's body, in the trunk. She screamed for someone to call 911, while also calling herself. Robert went back over to the trunk and opened it again running his hand over the blue-colored object. From her vantage point, Cynthia could see Christina's purple windbreaker in the back of the car. Robert then shut the trunk again, yelling for someone to call 911. It was November 2004, and the parking lot of a supermarket chain in Neenah, Wisconsin, was officially a crime scene. "Please just let me know if it's our daughter," Robert begged the police when they arrived. He wouldn't get any immediate answers. But it wouldn't take long before the coroner confirmed that the body of the woman inside the car was indeed Christina Ross. And it wouldn't take long before investigators identified a suspect who would tell a dark story about Christina's death. Today's case is a listener request, and although there's no trial audio or transcript, we were able to piece together exactly what happened in the case from police reports, transcribed interviews, and court documents. It's a tragic story that starts off with a missing loved one and ends with a last-minute attempt to escape justice. Will it be successful? This is Jillian in partnership with Law and Crime, and you are listening to Court Junkie, episode 243. 20-year-old Christina Ross was once described as gentle and innocent. To get to know her, you have to start at the beginning of her life. Her birth was a traumatic one with complications, and baby Christina suffered a brain hemorrhage that caused her to have seizures up until she was 11 years old. It affected the rest of her life. She took anticonvulsant medicine for 19 years. She enrolled in special education classes in school. She was developmentally slower than other students and struggled with reading. But Christina was very, very special in other ways as well, said Dr. Charles McKee, who had known Christina since birth. He described her in court documents we obtained. She was the sweetest, most gentle, polite, and kind little girl who always seemed to be smiling when I would see her, and who told me in the 6th grade that her favorite thing was being hugged. She was secure in knowing that she was truly and unconditionally loved by her parents. She trusted people because she never had learned not to. According to her teacher, Jim Vandenberg, in high school, Christina was enrolled in, quote, cognitive disabilities classes designed to help students who are challenged academically learn basic skills so they may eventually function in the community and live an independent lifestyle. Vandenberg went on, although very shy and unsure of herself, Christina was the hardest working student on my caseload. Christina was so sweet yet naive about some of the dangers that certain people in the world present. She just wanted to be accepted and live like other young women. Christina's loved ones described her as quiet and soft-spoken, a shy and gentle soul, someone whose body grew faster than her mind. But she was also clearly fiercely determined. Christina's sister, Kathy Bayer, said she could have and would have done anything if she put her mind to it. Christina graduated high school earning a 4.0 GPA in her class. She got a job working as a cashier at the Piggly Wiggly store. She was so proud of that job, Christina's mother Cynthia said in court documents. She was so shy that she couldn't go in for her interview herself, so her father went with her. Her boss was very patient with her and hired her on the spot. It was a wise hire for the grocery store. Christina was conscientious and a fast learner, never showing up late. She became a whiz at the register, impressing people with her math skills. Her job brought her even more freedom and independence. Her mom, Cynthia, said, just because a child has a disability doesn't mean that she won't want to be independent. It's so very hard for a parent to cut the apron strings of a child with a normal mentality. It's 10 times, 100 times harder for a parent of a learning disabled child. But Christina wanted to be independent, so we supported her in whatever she tried to do. Christina got her driver's license, although it wasn't easy for her. It took 4 times to pass the written test and 2 times to pass the road test, but she did it. She saved up to buy her first car, that silver Neon, which she nicknamed Baby Faye. She worked hard to achieve things a normal kid took for granted, and that fact alone made you want to love her more, her step-grandmother Rhonda Jacobs said. Holding a job, graduating from high school, getting her driver's license was big time for her. She was so proud of herself. That grin went from ear to ear. Now at age 20, Christina lived with her parents. For fun, she liked to watch Three's Company and could get absorbed for hours in the game Snake on her phone. As shy as she was, she loved to belt out tunes and sing. In 2004, she was a fan of Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, and Celine Dion. Customers, teachers, family friends, everyone who knew her always seemed to bring up her radiant smile. But Christina's social life wasn't vibrant outside of her job. Her parents described her as a loner. She didn't have very many friends, although it was clear there were many people in her life who loved her. One of the only people Christina spent time with was a boy she had known from high school, Thomas T.J. Blake. But Cynthia told police that their friendship had recently hit a rough patch. 3 weeks earlier, Christina and TJ got into an argument. Christina told her mom she didn't know why TJ was mad at her. He wouldn't tell her. According to the police report, their fight lasted for about 3 days, until Christina went over to talk with him, and they seemed to get along after that. When Christina headed out of the house to see TJ, she would wear something like a peasant-style blouse and blue jeans and paired a necklace to go with it. She always wore her beloved bronze wide-rimmed glasses to help her see. It was a big deal for her to pick out her own clothes and shop for herself, something she hadn't done before until recently. But even with her newfound independence, Christina was her dependable, responsible self. She always wrote her parents a note when she was heading over to see TJ. Cynthia told police, "In our family, you never left the house without saying goodbye, I love you, or leaving a note to tell others where you went." There was a very obvious connection between TJ Blake and Christina's disappearance. Investigators tracked down Christina's phone records, and TJ was the last person she spoke to. And sure enough, on the day Christina went missing, she left a note for her parents, telling them she was going to visit TJ while they were out of town. Thomas TJ Blake seemed like the opposite of Christina. In high school, Christina was mild-mannered, sweet, and hardworking, earning top grades. Meanwhile, TJ had been in trouble in school since the age of 13. He was the kind of student known for telling a teacher to F off. He came across as boastful of the 8 disorderly conducts he had received throughout his academic career, almost like he was puffing out his chest, an attorney would later say in court. TJ the man didn't fare much better than TJ the boy. At 20 years old, he was unemployed and the father of a baby conceived with his live-in girlfriend Stacy, with whom he wasn't always faithful. TJ also had a criminal record, which included second-degree sexual assault, burglaries, and criminal damage. He had a history of making comments that were violent. He once texted a 15-year-old girl, "Your blood would look good on white carpet." He claimed to have a split personality named Tom. In fact, he blamed that text message on Tom when the girl confronted him about it. Whether it was TJ or Tom, his head was certainly filled with morbid thoughts. He wrote them down in his journal and shared them with his friends and even people he probably shouldn't have, like his probation officer. TJ once disclosed to his probation officer that he wondered what human meat tasted like. "Did you know that human skin has 1,000 grams of fat per square inch?" TJ asked him. According to Cynthia, it was hard for Christina to make friends because she was quiet and had nervous tics like biting her fingers and rocking back and forth. TJ was someone rare and special in her life. He came over for her birthday party, although Cynthia noted that he didn't bring Christina a gift. Christina was also generous and loving. She genuinely wanted to help TJ and spent her money on him. Cynthia elaborated more. Quote, "When talking to her friends at work, they often said Christina bought diapers for his daughter. I remember one time when TJ was at our house and Christina was going to give him $200. She would have if I didn't stop her. She would have done almost anything for him. And I stress, almost anything. He was her friend, or so she thought. It makes us so mad to know that he used her. If he needed a ride somewhere, she would take him. If he needed money, she would give it to him. If he needed groceries, she went out and bought them for him. She felt sorry for him. Her father tried to tell her that he was just using her, but she sat on her bed crying, 'No, Daddy, no, he's not.'" Some said Christina appeared to have a bit of a crush on TJ. After all, she was a romantic at heart. She loved Disney princess movies and was a huge fan of the 1990 romantic movie Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. For years, since she was a little girl, Christina held onto a bridal magazine that she kept hidden in her room. Cynthia said, like so many little girls, she dreamed of what she would wear on her wedding day. She didn't have anybody in mind when she was dreaming because the magazine was dated 1993. She was only 10 years old. She was just a little girl with dreams that so many little girls dream. On most weekends, Christina's parents headed to their one-room shack in Tigerton, Wisconsin, since they were both deer hunters. It was a place Christina didn't enjoy going. This November 2004 weekend, near Thanksgiving, the weekend Christina disappeared, was no different. Cynthia and Robert woke up at 6:30 a.m. that Saturday and headed out to their cabin. Cynthia wrote a note reminding her sleeping daughter to vacuum and dust the living room and that they would be back Saturday night or Sunday. Cynthia signed the note, "Love, Mom and Dad." Even though they weren't going to be gone long, Cynthia later called home and left a voicemail, reminding Christina to scrape the car windows before she went to work that Sunday. Cynthia also texted Christina later that Saturday, but didn't hear back. Christina's parents spent the rest of the day at the cabin and then headed back home Sunday, stopping at a store and then to pick up donuts for breakfast. When they got home, Christina's car was gone, which meant, they assumed, that she had already left for her Sunday grocery store shift. They unpacked the truck and walked inside. Right away, Cynthia noticed the caller ID blinking on the phone. Connie Latvis, a friend and employee at the Piggly Wiggly, had left a message to see why Christina hadn't shown up for work. In her 3 years working there, Christina had only called off 2 days, and she was never late. The employees at the Piggly Wiggly were worried, and now so were Christina's parents. Cynthia called Connie back to see if by then Christina had arrived to work, but the answer was no. Connie told her something else, though. When they had worked the earlier Friday shift together, Christina showed Connie a text message she had gotten from TJ, who said he was breaking up with his girlfriend Stacy and needed to go to a motel. Of course, TJ wanted Christina to pay for it. TJ then invited Christina over midday Saturday to talk. When Cynthia got off the phone with Connie, she called the police department to report Christina missing. It was around 3 p.m. on Sunday, but they didn't offer much help. And so she began doing some detective work herself. She found Christina's cell phone bill and started calling numbers. She texted TJ. "Is Christina with you?" she wrote. "No," TJ replied. "She's missing. Do you know where she is?" Cynthia asked. "Honestly, she never showed up. I'm worried about her. I wish I could help," TJ responded. Cynthia then told him that she had called the cops and that they might want to talk to him. TJ said she was supposed to show up at 11 a.m. Saturday to get lunch. Cynthia then tried again. "Please, is she with you? I just want to know that she's safe." TJ wrote back, "I'm going to be back in Neenah on Tuesday night." Cynthia then wrote, "Where are you? We knew that you were going to a motel." TJ said, "Honestly, she's not with me. I wish I knew where she was. Tell me when you get home so I can call and talk." Cynthia inquired about the identity of another person, and TJ said he believed it was a man who worked with Christina. TJ later responded again, "I don't know where she's at. I've helped all that I can." Cynthia then texted Christina, "Call home, please. We love you. We are very worried." She printed out missing persons posters and kept working the phone. The discovery of Christina's car, and then her body inside, came on Monday. It was then no longer a missing persons case, but an active homicide investigation. Officer John Garner responded to the scene. He wrote in the police report, quote, "At a glance through the passenger side rear window, I observed a form lying diagonally through the folded down back seat and into the trunk. I unlocked the trunk and observed a form wrapped in what appeared to be a blue sheet secured with duct tape. I felt the form, which was consistent with the human body, though cold and with rigor mortis. In order to preserve potential physical evidence, using a pocket knife, I made a slit in the sheet and observed the back of a human head and bare left shoulder. Based upon my training and experience, I felt that this individual was clearly deceased and required no immediate medical treatment. I closed the trunk." An autopsy was conducted, and Christina's official cause of death was ruled ligature strangulation. Her injuries included marks on her neck, hemorrhaging in the neck, and scrapes on her right wrist and forehead. The coroner removed the duct tape found wrapped around Christina's ankles. The tape was also used to wrap up her body in the blue sheet. A supermarket store employee who was interviewed said she saw Christina's Dodge Neon parked in the back of the parking lot by 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Neon stood out because it was parked away from all the other cars, and they didn't recognize it as another worker's vehicle. Investigators also interviewed Connie, Christina's friend from the Piggly Wiggly. Connie said Christina was crazy about TJ. She told them they had attempted to have sex once a few weeks ago, but physically they weren't able to. Investigators asked Connie if she had noticed any signs that TJ was violent or abusive with Christina, but she hadn't. Still, there were some warning signs that whatever TJ and Christina's relationship wasn't a healthy one. TJ had asked Christina to co-sign an apartment with him, but Connie warned her not to do it. TJ was unemployed, and it sounded like a bad idea. Connie said she wasn't sure if Christina had listened to her or if she had gone ahead and signed the paperwork. And, Connie told investigators, TJ's girlfriend Stacy wasn't thrilled that Christina was in the picture. During the investigation into Christina's death, investigators went to TJ's apartment where he lived with his girlfriend Stacy and roommate Rusty. Rusty told them he hadn't seen TJ in several days. He complained that he had been locked out of his apartment and had to get the landlord to let him in earlier that day. Rusty was helpful. He said he didn't mind if they looked around the apartment. There, in the living room, was a journal with a snakeskin cover. It was inside an olive green ammunition box. Rusty told them it was TJ's journal. Some of the entries immediately raised red flags. The last entry, written on November 12, 2004, just days before Christina's body was found, read, "She called me today. I wonder if LBC have figured it out yet that I want them dead." The prior entry was October 28, 2004. "It's her birthday. What makes up the human conscience? Hope, despair, love, hate, fear, loathing? Nobody knows. My thirst for killing won't go away. I know someday they will use this against me. They say the brain bends and twists to deal with everyday horrors. What if it bends and twists to the point that it snaps in two? Mine has snapped in two. It's hard to cope with. Bye." The investigators had read enough. The apartment was closed off as a crime scene. Meanwhile, another detective struck a lucky tip. John Arthur Rudat, who lived in the same apartment building as TJ, Rusty, and Stacy, reported seeing something odd on that Saturday. He said after hearing a noise in the hallway, he looked out his door peephole. He saw the person he recognized as the bald upstairs tenant, TJ, and another male he didn't know carrying an object wrapped in a sheet or a blanket. This from the police report. When John looked out, it looked like they were carrying something that was very awkward and possibly could have been a body. The two males then put this object in the back of a silver car. Investigators wanted to hear directly from TJ Blake, and TJ seemed eager to talk as he sat in the interview room early Tuesday morning, hours after Christina's body was found. In fact, TJ asked for paper so he could give his statement after he was read his Miranda rights. But investigators weren't interested in what TJ wanted to write down. They wanted to hear it come out of his mouth. According to the detectives, TJ confessed during the 12-minute interview. No recording exists. According to the report, TJ said he had known Christina for the past 4 years. He claimed she was obsessed with him. Quote, he states approximately 6 to 7 months ago, she and he explored their sexual relationship. He states that she wanted to learn and experience this and that he helped. He said his girlfriend Stacy wanted him to stop seeing Christina, and TJ said he wanted to end things too. But that didn't stop him from seeing her again. He said he had been playing video games with a 15-year-old friend when Christina came over around 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. He said he and Christina went into his roommate's bedroom and talked on the bed for 45 minutes, holding hands, and then they had rough sex. According to the police report, TJ asked if she wanted to do something kinky, and she said yes. Quote, TJ states that he got his handcuffs and that they are real. He states that he showed them to her and that she liked it. She put her hands in front and he cuffed her. He states that he had her lay down on her back and then he rolled her over onto her stomach. The report continues, detailing what they said TJ told them. Quote, he pulled her head back using her forehead and wrapped an extension cord around her neck 4 times. He told me that she put up a struggle for approximately 10 minutes and that he was straddling her from behind. He states that he was wearing the same clothes he has on at this time. He states that he was basically laying on her, pulling on the extension cord. He also adds that they were not having sex at this point. When Christina tried to scream, TJ said he wrapped the cord around his left forearm so he could use his right hand to cover her mouth. She stopped fighting, TJ said, but he still kept hold of the extension cord for another half hour to make sure she was dead. Quote, TJ Blake indicates that he did not get sexual pleasure from killing her. With Christina dead, TJ said he then returned to the living room. The teenager he had been hanging out with was still there. I just killed Christina, TJ said he told him. Will you help me wrap it up? TJ said the teenager was kind of a guy where he won't ask questions if he trusts you, and TJ and the teen apparently trusted each other with their lives. TJ explained how he then hid Christina's body with the teen's help. He said they rolled her into a blue sheet and duct taped her ankles together so they could carry her more easily. TJ then threw her clothes, her coat, and her purse in her car. Then he brought Christina's body, feet first, through the trunk. He states that her head would have been at the right rear corner and her feet would have been in the driver's side back seat, the police report said. He then said he covered her lower body with her jacket and left for the supermarket parking lot where he parked her car. He threw her keys in a garbage can at a fast food restaurant. Investigators never found the keys. Then TJ said he walked home alone. At one point during the day, TJ and the teenager used Christina's money and went shopping at the mall. He said he and the teenager didn't talk about what had just transpired. Instead, they played video games for hours until about 8 p.m. He said Stacy came home around 7. According to the detectives, TJ had confessed in a statement that sounded almost matter-of-fact. He said he was sorry for what he had done. For the Ross family, their daughter's name and photograph, her reputation, was now connected to a story about kinky sex that had turned into murder. They did not believe TJ's version of events. It didn't make sense because Christina was claustrophobic, they said. As a child, she had been scared of elevators. As an adult, she didn't like to be hugged. She didn't want anyone to hold her hand. She wanted to be in control and to initiate the physical touching. They watched a news broadcast that, they said, made Christina look promiscuous and seemed like she had been willingly handcuffed by TJ. Summer Johnson, one of Christina's friends and high school classmates, said later in court, the next few days listening to Thomas Blake's sick lies about how she died turned out to be very rough for me to get through. Hearing sick details that were spread across the media made me absolutely sick. Knowing Christina, I know that Thomas Blake's sick, twisted version of what happened was a cover-up for murdering the one person who actually truly cared about him. Investigators searched for the murder weapon, the cord. TJ said he threw it in a dumpster at his apartment complex, but authorities couldn't find it. They did find the handcuffs in the bottom of a kitchen drawer. They also discovered a pair of bronze glasses in one of the bedrooms on a TV stand. The glasses belonged to Christina. At the request of Cynthia and Robert, they took the glasses to the funeral home so she could be buried wearing them. Investigators then tracked down the 15-year-old. He was taken into custody for mutilating or hiding a corpse and was held in juvenile detention. The teen wrote a letter to Christina's family. The letter said, "I thought I knew TJ well. I would have never guessed he was capable of doing what he did. I helped him because I did think he might try to hurt me. I went with him to the mall because I didn't want to set him off." It goes on to say, "I really was afraid that TJ might hurt me. He knew Christina since high school. I knew TJ for a few years. He still killed her, so what would stop him from coming at me?" TJ Blake had gravitated towards dark reading and videos. During a search of his apartment, investigators collected videos and books they found, like Helter Skelter, the Director's Cut, House of 1,000 Corpses, and 2 books, one called The Serial Killer Files and The Encyclopedia of Serial Killers. Investigators learned that TJ had openly talked about his murderous fantasies to his roommate Rusty and to his girlfriend, but they hadn't reported him to authorities. Rusty told police that in the month leading up to the murder, he figured TJ brought up murdering people about a dozen times. He said TJ fantasized about killing someone by shoving a pencil or paper down the person's throat. Stacy told police TJ brought up killing Christina specifically, and that he also openly fantasized about killing another female. Stacy said she was scared of him. Investigators asked her if TJ had ever choked her during sex. She said no. They had experimented with bondage, like shoestrings and handcuffs, she said. She described one incident when TJ forced anal sex on her and she had to actually escape and leave the bed, according to the police report. Stacy also described another female, whose name was redacted in the report, who TJ was having sex with at the time. She said he eventually lost interest in the female, but she still kept calling him and that TJ was getting annoyed. She said that 9 months prior, late at night, TJ opened up to her about his plan to ride his bike to the female's home using the side streets, break into her house, and kill her and her mother, making it look like a staged burglary. She told police she begged TJ not to do it. She said that about 5 or 6 weeks prior to the murder, she and TJ were having issues in their relationship. She was upset because Christina kept texting TJ, checking to see if Stacy was home. When Stacy talked about it with TJ, she said his face glazed over into a blank stare that made her feel uncomfortable. "You're not planning on doing anything, are you?" she said she asked him. TJ said he was thinking about killing Christina, but added he wasn't really going to do it. Stacy denied knowing anything about Christina's death and what happened in their apartment while she was at work. She said she didn't find out that Christina was missing until the following day, on Sunday. TJ began writing letters to Stacy from jail. The letters were rambling and unsettling. He asked her not to share them with police. She did anyway. In one letter that comes across as a deranged love letter, TJ brings up his other personality, Tom. Quote, "Hello, Stacy. It's nice to finally write to you. All you know about me is my name is Tom. I enjoy all of TJ's pain and sorrow. But damn, this is all too much for me. TJ knows what happened, and I know what happened. All I need is those public defenders. It's just, how dare he? I trusted that little bastard with her for 1 fucking minute, and all hell breaks loose. Give this poor kid an antidepressant or something. About me trying to take you out, well, it's kind of one of those impossible things. I hated it when you came along. He forgot about me. You showed him all that love crap. Long story short, there is no way I could physically harm you because he loves you." TJ then wrote a timeline of his relationship with Christina, writing that he met Christina in 1999, that she dated Tom on and off in 2000 and 2001. He wrote that Tom then met Stacy, and they started dating in 2001. He wrote in 2004, Christina made several attempts to break them up. He ended the timeline with November 13th, 2004, writing, Christina, DOA. DOA, dead on arrival. In another letter, however, he denied killing Christina. He wrote Stacy, I am fighting. I am fighting to keep my family. I am fighting for myself. I'm fighting for everything. I'm fighting against my so-called friend that fucked me over. All I fucking did was drive a car to a parking lot. Just because of that stupid complaint report, it's considered a self-confession. A self-confession to what? Something I didn't fucking do. Have I ever had the intent to kill anyone? No. Am I a monster because I said I wanted to kill someone? Would I go over and do it? Would I go and plan it out? No. He also wrote, I loved Christina as a friend, nothing more. Do you really think I would risk my life, my family, my work, and life just for a personal thing? No. I asked her on Tuesday if I could borrow, which was then crossed off with 2 lines and changed to have, $150 for Christmas and birthday presents. I told her I will pay her back by January 5th. She said no need to. Saturday, we were going to go out and get stuff for your birthday. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Love you. Signed, TJ Blake. TJ also wrote to his baby daughter. One letter said, was it real or just a dream? Always remember that. When you get this, you will be a year old. So, happy birthday. I want you to read this when you're old enough to understand. What happened on November 13th, 2004, it shouldn't have happened. If you don't like your name, I'm sorry. But I'm also glad you weren't born a boy. Your mother would have named you Trevor Eugene. Don't ever let anyone tell you your father was a monster or a bad man. Yes, I did do a lot of bad things, but you will find those out someday, hopefully from me. Don't let anyone tell you I hated you. I loved you with my life. I was even willing to give it up for you. There were people out there that wanted me and your mom to separate. Well, one of them is dead, only because she pushed the wrong button around the wrong people. The other is your Aunt Steph. On another page, investigators could see numerous lines that read, he did it, all the way across and down the page. TJ wrote, I sit here every day and wonder why he did it. I feel I lost everything. People need to open up their eyes and their ears. They also need to close their mouths. It's true there are stupid and intelligent people in jail. Are all the intelligent people insane in this world? So far, it feels like the world is run by stupid people. My weakness is I care too much. Scars remind us that the past is real. I'm sorry she's dead. If I would have opened my eyes, I could have stopped this. But I kept myself blind of what was going on around me. I'm sorry, Christina. I wish I could have saved you. Once again, I'm sorry. I do love you still. Even though you are ashes, you're still the innocent girl I knew and loved. Love me. Investigators had a pair of jailhouse informants willing to talk. Robert Long, who was now living at a halfway house in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, had been locked up with TJ, whom he had known since freshman year of high school. They shared the D block together. According to the police report, Robert said that for as long as he's known TJ, TJ had thoughts of killing people, but he never thought he'd actually do it. This time, however, as he was in jail with him at the same time TJ was awaiting trial for murder, he said TJ told him everything. He said TJ admitted to killing Christina and said it gave him a thrill. He said TJ also told him he had an accomplice during the murder. According to the police report, Robert said TJ told him that he was on one side and his accomplice was on the other. They were both pulling on a cord that was around Christina's neck, like a tug-of-war stance. He said Christina struggled but didn't really scream, and that she wasn't breathing by 12:37 p.m. and was dead by 12:39 p.m. The name of the accomplice is redacted in the police report, but the only other person mentioned in TJ's apartment at the time of the crime was TJ's 15-year-old friend, who was later taken into juvenile custody. Robert told police that Christina was the first person TJ had killed, and that he was eager to kill more people. Robert wasn't the only person TJ allegedly confessed to while in jail. A second man, Jamie Hankerson, who is still housed in the Winnebago County Jail, told law enforcement he wanted to speak with them, even though they weren't willing to help him out of his charges. Jamie was incarcerated for parole violations after he was going to be charged with his fifth operating while under the influence charge. Here's what Jamie told police, according to the report. Jamie stated that he was having lunch or dinner with TJ in the pod. TJ was bragging that he had murdered a girl in Neenah and that he was going to beat the charge by pleading insanity or by having a split personality. Jamie Hankerson indicated that TJ wanted to get into the law library of the jail and look up cases involving abused children who committed murder and then were able to beat the rap by pleading insanity. TJ explained to Jamie that he had an IQ of 165 and was calling himself a genius. Jamie said TJ also compared himself to Charles Manson and Hitler and said he had the power to control a boy, whose name and age is redacted from the report, but could presumably be the 15-year-old who helped him hide Christina's body. Jamie said TJ told him that he and the boy took turns holding the cord around Christina's neck, while the other raped her. Jamie also gave police more of a motive for why TJ would want Christina dead. Quote, he stated that a voice went off inside his head, like a switch, telling him that if his fiancée found out that he was having sex with the victim, that he would never see his child again. But there was not going to be a trial. The two jail informants, the 15-year-old boy who helped hide Christina's body, the neighbor who witnessed them carrying the body, his girlfriend Stacy and roommate Rusty, Connie from the Piggly Wiggly, and all the others investigators interviewed wouldn't be called up as witnesses against TJ. A jury would not read the disturbing journal entries and jailhouse letters TJ wrote. Instead, TJ took a plea deal and pleaded no contest to first-degree intentional homicide in August 2005. He had also been facing one count of hiding a corpse as party to a crime, but that charge was dismissed. Before he could be sentenced, however, TJ changed his mind. He also changed his story. He now said that he hadn't wanted to kill Christina, and he called her death an accident. He put the extension cord around her neck to give her a high during sex, he claimed. TJ's defense attorney said this was news to them. TJ hadn't said Christina's death was an accident until after he had entered his plea. Here's what TJ said in a November 2005 court affidavit. Quote, my statement to Officer Keur on November 16, 2004 was incorrect as to the portion that states that I held an extension cord around Christina's neck for 30 minutes to make sure she was dead. I did not intend to kill Christina Ross. We were engaged in sexual activity at the time of her death. I put the extension cord around her neck to enhance her high from our sexual activity. With 20/20 hindsight, I now realize that I held the extension cord around her neck for far too long, and that it was reckless conduct that placed her life at high risk. He went on to say that he told his attorneys this, but that they didn't believe him. He said they never told him that if a jury doesn't unanimously believe beyond a reasonable doubt that he intended to kill Christina, that he could be found guilty of the lesser included offenses of first or second degree reckless homicide. He called his no contest plea a hasty decision that he had reached out of frustration with his attorneys. He said he also didn't know he could request a new attorney until after he talked about it with some of his fellow inmates. The circuit court denied TJ's motion to withdraw his plea. It was too late. In 2006, with Leonard Kaczynski, his new attorney representing him, TJ appeared for his sentencing in a courtroom filled with Christina's family and friends. It was an emotional day as they told the court about their favorite memories of Christina and shared what they had lost when TJ murdered her. Cynthia, Christina's mother, testified about what it was like dressing Christina for her funeral. "We took a beautiful sweater twin set that she had bought and never had the chance to wear," she said. "It had a mock turtleneck with sequins and sparkles, and we thought she would like this top. I received a call from the funeral home shortly after we returned home that the turtleneck was too small. It wouldn't hide the marks he made on her neck. I've never seen the pictures of what he did to her. At the funeral home, we also had to cover up her hands because they were black from being in the trunk of that car for so long." Since losing their daughter, the Rosses revealed how their lives had changed. Opening a car trunk was traumatic and triggered them back to that November 2004 day in the parking lot. What helped Cynthia was working and staying busy and being with her supportive coworkers. It was harder on Robert, who was retired and didn't have that way of coping. Christina's father, though, was another story, Cynthia testified. "He's tried to be so strong for me. He's hidden things from me so I won't be hurt, such as the autopsy pictures. If he reads something in the paper in the morning, he won't tell me about it until I come home. He goes out to breakfast every morning and doesn't return home sometimes until the afternoon. He goes to the cemetery or walks around the Menards. He can't stand to be home. There's so many memories." Cynthia and Robert Ross asked the court to sentence TJ to life in prison without any chance of parole. "We believe that he used her caring heart against her, and he used her for everything he could get from her, including money and transportation," Cynthia said. "We feel that he is a menace to society, and that if he is let out, he would again kill another innocent person." At the end of the hearing, Judge William Carver used the word disturbing several times to describe TJ's behavior. "Mr. Blake makes too many references to killing individuals in the past and possibly in the future to be able to consider any type of release. What exactly Mr. Blake's motivation was for killing Christina is unknown. It appears that the killing was a cold, calculated, premeditated murder of a vulnerable victim." He then sentenced TJ to life in prison without the possibility of parole. TJ again tried to fight back in court, but in 2019, the Wisconsin State Court of Appeals upheld his conviction. In their ruling, they said, TJ raised numerous issues in his motion, which the circuit court observed was TJ simply throwing any and all legal concepts, hoping one sticks. At the time of this recording, TJ is a 39-year-old inmate in the Red Granite Correctional Institution. And that's all for this episode. As always, I'd love to know what you think about this case. You can let me know by finding me on Twitter at CourtJunkiePod, on Instagram at CourtJunkie, or by emailing me at podcast@CourtJunkie.com. This episode was researched and written by Gabrielle Russon. If you'd like to hear these episodes without the ads, hear additional Court Junkie bonus episodes, or get access to our weekly newsletter regarding fascinating court cases, check out our Patreon options at CourtJunkie.com/support. Also, be sure to check out our sister podcast, Civil, which covers interesting civil cases and trials. You can subscribe by searching for Civil on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.